like his future was all going to be about being a dad and being there for me.
I was apprehensive, but at the same time, I had hoped he honestly changed and would be a dad to her. She needed a dad.
And Richard's devotion to his daughter is matched only by his devotion to the Bible.
The importance of Scripture in our lives has got to be.
He now gives so much of his time to helping the needy that the locals call him Chaplain Rich.
People come to me like, hey, you're Chaplain Rich's daughter. He's a really good guy.
The effect it has not.
I was extremely proud of him. Like, he's going to be a good guy permanently.
But just as Rich seems to have his life in order, catastrophe strikes.
Dad?
When his car is hit by a truck, he's lucky to come out alive.
He snapped his Achilles tendon and crushed his sternum and a bunch of other back injuries.
His job at the truck company is over.
I'm so sorry.
But Richard Beasley is determined to turn a negative into a positive. Using compensation money from the accident, Rich buys a little 2-story house over on Yale Street. And there, Chaplain Rich does something remarkable.
Come right this way.
He opens his doors and offers shelter to those who need it. Akron's homeless and vulnerable.
This here is the living room.
To him, it was perfect because he could take this house, use half of it for himself to live, and then at the same time provide a halfway house to help all these individuals.
You can stay right here.
But his troubled tenants are often escaping dangerous lives.
Who is it?
Iris, where are you?
She ain't going with you, son.
People were literally like threatening him and pulling weapons on him and getting physical with him. He had no fear and no worries other than helping these people.
This here is God's house, and you ain't coming in.
Across town, Rich's best friend, Mike Rafferty, has his own problems. The single father is struggling to cope with his now teenage son, Brogan.
Dad, what are you doing?
Come on, this is my
I can see why you're hiding your report card. What the hell is this? What the hell is this?
Brogan was, I guess, starting to get into more trouble at home and at school.
Jams of my stuff. Everything in this house is my stuff. You got that?
He's subjected to his dad's tough love.
Where are you going? What do you care?
And increasingly, he turns to mentor Chaplain Rich. More than ever, the troubled teen needs the guidance of his mentor, Richard Beasley.
Oh, a baby mouse.
But his positive influence is about to come to an abrupt end. Teenage Tanya will receive a surprise voicemail from her father.
All it really said was something about how he'd be out of town and I won't be able to get hold of him for a while, but he really loves me.
All at once, he just dropped out of sight.
He did have a friend in Southern Ohio that he always talked about that had a whole bunch of land, so I just figured he was staying there.
What do you think, huh?
Let me look in there.
4 months after Richard's disappearance, 100 miles away, police get a 911 call.
Sheriff Halem's office. Hey, yes, Halem, this is Jeff Shockman up here in Florida. We just had a gentleman come up to our front door. He claims that he's been shot.
Yeah, I'd got a call late on the evening, November 6th, 2011. The sheriff had called me to inform me that they'd had a shooting. The sheriff thought it was pretty strange.
The victim is a 50-year-old man. He's been shot in the arm. Detective Mackey pays him a visit in the hospital.
Why don't you tell me what happened?
His name is Scott Davis, and he has an incredible story to tell.
So I got into town yesterday.
Scott says he drove up yesterday from South Carolina in response to a job advertised on Craigslist.
It said 688 acres, $300 a week, free room and board. I was like, that don't sound bad.
Hey, Jack.
It's Scott.
He arranged to meet his new boss, someone named Jack, at a diner in a small town on the Ohio-West Virginia border.
Okay, buddy.
All his belongings are packed into the back of his car, ready to begin a new life.
First time that I had met Jack, he just looked like a normal farmer guy. He had on, jeans and a leather jacket. Just looked like a normal Joe to me.
Jack's nephew is also there to help Scott move his stuff into the farmstead. But first, they eat breakfast.
Get whatever you want, man. He says, whatever you're hungry for. He says, the all-you-can-eat menu or whatever.
After eating, they ride out to the property together in Jack's truck.
Going up over gullies, and there was a couple times I thought we were going to go off. It was just that narrow.
The road becomes impassable, so Jack pulls over.
We started walking back in the woods, and at that point, the kid drove off in the car. I've seen the woods getting thicker, and they're getting thicker. This is real country out here. I mean, there's nothing around. He said, you know something? He said, this must be the wrong spot. My first mistake is when I turned my back on him. And as soon as I turned around, I heard click. The gun must have misfired or something, because when I turned around, that gun was already coming back up. That's when I looked at him, evil. That's all I seen in that man's eyes. And I mean, I was 5 feet away from him, and they were just nothing there, nothing, empty. All I hear is bang, 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 bang. Trying to get away from him. I'm scampering for my life.
It's only when Scott hides that he notices he's wounded. Scott stays hidden for the next 7 hours, bleeding and exhausted, until he can take no more and makes a run for it.
I've been shot. Can you help me?
The outlandish story sounds like it's ripped straight from the pages of a thriller. But if Scott's telling the truth, then Detective Mackey's got a trigger-happy madman on his hands.
At that point, we didn't know where the crime scene was. So at the onset, we didn't have a lot of information.
But there could be an immediate solution to finding Scott's attackers. They have left a digital footprint.
We had the Craigslist ad, and we had a phone number. Finding the source was paramount to the case at that point.
I'd like you to trace an IP for me. I'll send you the link so you can see what I'm talking about.
And the cyber crimes unit, the FBI, is set up to get this information very quickly.
Detective Mackey enlists the help of the FBI. They can trace Jack's phone number and the exact location of the computer that uploaded the Craigslist ad.
This was urgent, that we needed to locate whoever had placed this ad as quickly as possible. At that point, we were just waiting for a break in the case.
Tanya Beasley is also waiting to hear from her father, Richard. He's been missing from Akron for 4 months.
All those years of trying to make this relationship with him, all for it to just be gone just like that.
And she's not the only one affected by Rich's disappearance. Brogan Rafferty, the high school kid Richard's been mentoring, is getting into trouble at school. As shown in this shocking, never-before-broadcast video. Brogan, at over 6 feet and dressed all in black, is a physically imposing presence. Noble County detectives continue their search for the man who shot Scott Davis. And 5 days after the incident, they receive a missing persons report that lights a fire under the investigation.
My brother's gone missing.
A distraught woman by the name of Deborah Bruce has a distressingly familiar story to tell.
She stated that her brother, David Polly, had responded to an ad on Craigslist back in October And the last conversation she had with him was that he had to go meet his employers for breakfast the following morning.
The similarities with Scott Davis' story are alarming.
Same Craigslist ad, same employer, same phone number. The only difference in this case is we haven't heard from David Polly, we've heard from Scott Davis. I planned a search of the area near where Scott Davis was shot. So it involved lining up cadaver dogs, additional search members, additional investigators. It's mostly wooded, very remote. It was like trying to find a needle in a haystack. We had one of the cadaver dogs indicate on an area.
And in the grass, they find something.
The dog actually began to dig a little bit, and ultimately we located a body. Upon excavating the area and exhuming the body, it appeared to me that there was a gunshot wound to the head.
The body carries no ID, but detectives already have a strong idea of who this man is.
Yeah, this silver chain, that's right.
I had to make a call to Deborah Bruce, asked her about this bracelet.
Yeah.
Deborah confirms that the chain is her brother's.
It looked like what had happened to David Polly is what they had intended to happen to Scott Davis. That this was a successful murder, execution, and burial.
I'm afraid I've got some terrible news.
The body of David Polly was found buried in the woods near Caldwell this morning. The 51-year-old's been missing for 3 months after applying for a farm job on Craigslist. The same job ad that lured Scott Davies to the same woods before he was shot 5 days ago.
It became very clear at that point that we were probably dealing with a serial killer.
And investigators could be a step closer to identifying him. They now have access to the footage from the Shoney's diner, where the killer brought his victims before he attacked. And around 9:45 a.m., Scott Davis enters with Jack and his young accomplice.
The best picture we have of him is standing in the lobby area of the waiting to be seated. I noticed in the picture that the older gentleman was wearing a black leather jacket, which was pretty specific. And then there was a much younger white male also.
While Detective Mackey has uncovered the faces of the suspects, the FBI have made their own vital breakthrough. They've traced the location of the email address used to create the Craigslist ad. The 2 men in the diner's CCTV set up their deadly operation from a house 100 miles north. In Akron.
What they find there is a man who says he has been renting one of his rooms.
When shown a still of Jack from the CCTV footage, he recognizes his tenant.
Yeah, he rents that room over there.
But the landlord knows him by another name.
Upon searching the room, they find like some prescription drugs, different things with the name Ralph Geiger.
This Ralph Geiger is not at home, but finding him is now top priority.
So it definitely took the investigation to a whole nother level. The pace was already pretty quick, but we go even faster now.
With the hunt on for Ralph Geiger and his young accomplice, Detective Mackey heads north to Akron. The FBI have a new lead. The cell phone used to call victim Scott Davis has been traced to a high school kid.
Is this you with Scott Davis down at Shoney's diner?
The young man in the CCTV still is a match for Brogan Rafferty.
I don't know. He was very arrogant. It was very clear that he knew he didn't have to talk to us if he didn't want to.
Brogan, he's 16. What do you mean he's been arrested for murder? My Brogan? That's not true.
But the evidence gathered from his bedroom ties him to the victims.
We located a shotgun, a handgun. These were located in Brogan's room. Some other items in there, but it appeared to be a killing kit. Upon Brogan's arrest and then the subsequent interview the next day, Brogan admits to being involved in the shooting of Scott Davis. He admits to being involved in the death of David Polly.
For Tanya Beasley, the whereabouts of her father Richard is a mystery. The middle-aged chaplain who fits the description of the Craigslist victims has been missing for 4 months. But Tanya is about to discover the terrible truth surrounding his disappearance.
Are you Tanya Beasley?
Yeah?
Detective Mackey. I'm here to talk to you about Richard Beasley.
At first I was a little bit taken aback because I didn't know who this man was or why he knew my name, but he was there to talk about my dad.
When last did you see him?
I don't know. Well, I can't remember. Yeah, that's my dad.
The man known to investigators as Ralph Geiger is none other than Richard Beasley.
You're under arrest for murder.
The reformed convict who convinced his daughter he was a changed man never did give up his life of crime. The halfway house he opened to shelter the vulnerable was in fact a brothel and drug-dealing operation. And when police found out, Richard went on the run, assuming the name Ralph Geiger. Now he's in custody for crimes far greater than dealing drugs.
Did my dad kill somebody?
You have this intuition, and I just knew.
Richard claims he's innocent, but there's a witness who's been by his side for the last 4 months. Investigators offer Richard's young accomplice a deal. If Brogan Rafferty tells everything, the charges against him will be reduced. And during the murder trial, he testifies against his friend and mentor.
Was there a point in your life when your opinion of Richard Beasley had changed?
Absolutely.
And when was that?
That was the morning that he murdered a man in front of me.
What was his name?
I found out afterwards that his name was Mr. Ralph Geiger.
Ralph Geiger was the first victim of the Craigslist killers. Fugitive Rich Beasley couldn't face the prospect of another stint in jail, so he decided to change his identity.
They had located this man, Ralph Geiger. Ralph was been homeless. He was kind of down on his luck.
And he bore a striking resemblance to Richard Beasley.
After Ralph Geiger's death, Richard Beasley became Ralph Geiger.
You add in the hectares for how it is?
With their first murder a success, Richard and Brogan repeat the scam. Advertising on Craigslist, their fake job offer is designed to trap desperate middle-aged men carrying all their belongings in search of a new life. They killed David Polly and sold his possessions for a few $1,000s. And the failed attempt on Scott Davis's life pushed Richard to take a fourth victim. Timothy Kern was shot dead just days before the killers were arrested.
And they take him out and they execute him and bury him in a shallow grave for $5 and a pack of cigarettes.
Brogan Rafferty claims his role was motivated by a crippling fear, and that Richard Beasley threatened to harm Brogan's family if he didn't play along. But the jury decided that Brogan was a willing participant in the crimes.
Jury finds you guilty of aggravated murder.
Is there anything that the world should know about you?
In November of 2012, he's found guilty of aggravated murder and attempted murder. He receives life with no parole.
What do you have to say to those families? Sorry.
For masterminding the killings, Richard Beasley receives the ultimate punishment.
Unanimously find that the sentence of death should be imposed on Richard James Beasley.
Anybody that could do what he did is a monster with no conscience and no soul. And I don't believe that they've found everybody Rich Beasley's killed. I believe he's been doing it since he was younger. And I hate him. Totally raw hatred for the man.